During this lesson you will be required to fill out a worksheet. I recommend you read through the worksheet before viewing the lesson. In order to give you time to do this, you can use the pause button at the bottom of the screen. Learning outcomes. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to state the recommended minimum height of paving below D.P.C level, state how much excavated earth bulks up by, state how many brick pavers there are in 1 square metre, describe how to set out herringbone pattern in paving using a sketch to illustrate your answer. Preparation. Mark out the area of the planned paving, allowing approximately 300 mm over at each free edge to make handling materials and haunching for edgings and curves that much easier. Use sand, a spray marker or a string and stakes to mark out the area. Make sure you know the approximate location of any services such as electricity, gas, cable TV, etc. Excavation. Dig off as required and dispose of soil. Dig depth for a typical domestic driveway is 200 mm below the finished paving level. This is based on 100 mm of sub-base, hardcore, 50 mm of grit sand for the bed and a 60 mm block paver. Take note there that the D.P.C level and the finished paving level. Finished paving level has to be a minimum of 150 mm below the D.P.C. Remember that excavated material bulks up by 20 to 30%, so each 1 cubic metre dug out will become 1.3 cubic metres for disposal. Remember, it's better to dig too deep than too shallow. Install any drainage that's required and haunch with concrete. Edge courses. Set up taut string lines to guide the line and the level for edge courses. Lay edging bricks on a concrete bed. Once you are satisfied that the straight lines are indeed straight and that the curves are sweet, the edgings should be solidly haunched with concrete at least 75 mm thick. This is obviously to prevent the restrainers from moving. Sub-base. Spread, level and compact a minimum of 100 mm thick layer of sub-base material. Remember, if you're only using 100 mm of hardcore, then there's a definite requirement for a geotextile membrane to be placed on top of the soil to separate the sub-base material from the soil. So this sub-base should be laid to the required falls of the finished paving and should be accurate to plus or minus 10 mm. Make sure there are no voids within the sub-base. Any such voids should be filled with stone dust or grit sand and compacted before laying the bedding course. Bedding. Take note there that there are 50 100 by 200 mm paving bricks or paving blocks in 1 metre squared. So we spread, level and compact the bedding sand and screed it to the correct level. If using a 45-degree herringbone pattern, lay out the starter course of blocks square or parallel to the building, as seen in the diagram above. 90-degree herringbone patterns are best started at a corner or main edge of the building. Block laying. Continue to lay all full paving blocks, making sure to work from a section of already laid paving, not from the screeded bedding course. When all the full blocks are laid, check for alignment by checking the lines with a taut string line and adjust as necessary, then cut in at the edges. Finishing off. Fix recess trays and gully covers if necessary. Brush in dry jointing sand and compact the paving with a vibrating plate compactor or a whacker plate. Make 4 to 6 passes over each section of paving, alternating passes at 90 degrees to the previous pass. With clay bricks, you may need to use a mat attached to the base of the plate compactor to prevent damaging the edges of the bricks. Conclusion. The recommended minimum height of paving below D.P.C level is 150mm. Excavated earth bulks up by 20 to 30%. There are 50 brick pavers in 1 square metre. How to set out a herringbone pattern in paving. First, you set up a parallel line off the border course and start with a double course of bricks. This line should be set up approximately 180mm from your border course, and once the external and internal corners of these bricks are lined up with the double course, that will ensure that these bricks are set out at 45 degrees to the perimeter. Then we just simply run in 1 course at a time, 1 course up, 1 course down, and so on.